Hey.
Hey, it's just you and me at the moment.
Okay, well, I've got my coffee. I don't have any makeup on and my hair's not done, but I'll live.
My eyes feel like the two little holes in a burnt blanket, and I, well, glaring at the computer screen, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many goddamn transactions do I have? I half combed my hair. Which means I ran a brush through the top half and said, "Ah, hell with the bottom."
Well, that's all I did. Brush the hair, put the headband on. I didn't even know. I'm a mess today. Well, I'm not at the office. Why would I go to all that trouble if I'm not at the office?
Oh, seriously. And even though I am at the office, why do I go to all that trouble? It's just me and Max.
Ugh.
It's like it amazes me at what a wired mess my husband has. I never see it because
Oh.
my back is always to him. But I sit here and I look and it's like, oh my God, what a mess over there.
Well, I'm in my craft room today, which I can actually get into now because there are no longer gifts and empty boxes all over the place. I even had the guys take down the boxes with the dyed and the undyed yarn down to the basement because it no longer smells all icky and damp and dusky down there. So,
Perfect. Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to go live with this thing. Must be the squirrel, huh?
Or somebody walking down the street.
Okay. So, how the hell did I start this last week? Hold on. Um, oh my God. Off air. Why am I like drawing a blank? Oh my God. Okay. I am feeling extremely stupid this morning.
Yeah, it says you're off air up there. I don't see anything that'll allow me to do anything. There's a little panel over on the left side of your screen if you mouse over there. Is that one of the things that you need to do?
Maybe I just don't.
Showcase. We got control room, Q&A, showcase, screen share, and chat. The control room has a little camera on it. I'm on a moderated video call, so I can't do anything.
Yeah, and it's just if I wanted, whoops, if I wanted to, I just lost you.
I'm still here.
No, I clicked too much and
My
you went
little window
away.
went away.
Yeah. All right. So what the? I'm gonna start swearing here in a minute. I told it to start it. So did they change something between last week and this?
I have absolutely no idea. I've never done this before.
Oh, all right.
Oops, I'm gone. There you are.
What
It's
in the
still,
hell? It still says I'm off air.
yep.
Use live control room. It says I'm live now. What in the hell? Well, maybe you and I'll just sit here and swear.
Yeah, no, well, I can't do anything. I just, yeah, because that little green button was on last time, said on air.
Yeah, I know.
What are we talking about today? Sales tax?
Good God. All right. Hold on. I'm going to close this.
Okay.
Reload my page. I don't know what the hell happened. It's just being stupid.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Nancy is trying to open. She can't seem to get it to record, so she's gone to do something. So it's just me and you now.
Let me.
She's trying to figure out something. She'll be back in a minute, or she'll either give us another link. I'm trying to talk her into doing it.
The YouTube link works. Like the YouTube link posted in Facebook works.
Yeah, but it's not recording and going on air.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, we can hang out because this is a Google Hangout, but it's not recording
Yes,
and we're
it's
not.
not, I see. I see. Well,
I'm trying to get Nancy. I'm trying to convince Nancy that the three of us need to do a crafting video cast every week because we get
Oh,
along
Lord.
so well and we're so hilarious.
Oh Lord. And you'll appreciate this. As someone commented, "Holy stitch markers, Batman."
Oh my God! Yes.
I got fed up of not being able to count to 8 because it's just an 8 stitch repeat, but I kept messing it up. So this is like all the random stitch markers I own just jammed on in 8 stitch repeats because it's a scarf knit like long ways.
Yeah.
So it's 290 something stitches in 8 stitch repeats, and this is almost all the stitch markers I own.
You must have had a fun time casting that on.
Actually, it wasn't too bad. I used the long tail and I used one end from like each end of the ball.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So that wasn't too bad.
Okay. Is it
No,
a cowl?
it's surf. I just have it on circular so darn long.
I see.
But when I had this up on Twitch, someone looked at that and said, "Holy stitch markers!"
I like them. They're cute.
Well, this is just like a random collection of like stitch markers I got from Etsy, plus like ones that I picked up like from shops and just people putting.
Trust me, I have a very eclectic collection myself. I got some from a company called Loops. I forget, but they're made out of material, and they've got a bead on the end, and they're actually the shape of a knit stitch. Flukes, nice. That's it. They're flukes, and they come in all sorts of different colors, and I just love them.
Yeah. I've just accumulated random stitch markers over the years, some of which result from, "Oh, that's really huge. I'm going to buy that on Etsy."
Yeah. Well, this is crazy. It will not let me broadcast this.
Well, I checked the YouTube link, and it is broadcasting to YouTube, if that helps you.
Well,
are we?
Yeah.
It's crazy because it says we're off air.
Hang on, let me check just right quick, Nancy.
Oh my God. I don't even think you want to hear what I have to say.
No, I've got the YouTube video playing, and it's playing.
Oh, well, all right. Well then, it's finally Friday.
Good morning, everybody.
This is the way my week has gone. Absolutely just like this. Here we're sitting here, and for the last, about 5 minutes, it says we're off air, but obviously we're on air somewhere. And yeah, this is the way the week has been. So a couple little updates. I did attend that sales tax webinar on Tuesday. Boy, we talk about a waste of my time. They claimed that during the webinar they were going to talk about how Etsy sellers and Amazon marketplace sellers were supposed to deal with all of this new sales tax economic nexus. Not once did they mention it. Not once. The only thing that I did learn, and I knew that before I even joined the webinar, is California has now joined the ranks with 200 transactions or $200,000 in sales. California by itself has about 1,800 tax jurisdictions. So it's going to be fun. Of course, that put me into a tailspin for the software business because, maybe between 20 and 25% of our software revenue comes from California. Yay!
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, well, California is the worst state for prevailing wage and certified payroll reporting requirements, and that it makes sense that that much of our revenue does come from the state of California.
I'm going to be invaded by a cat.
Yay!
Come here.
Oh, what a cutie!
There you
I'm
go.
going to go get more coffee. I'll be right back. I love your cat, but I'm allergic.
No, that's fine. No. Run away. No. Yeah, she's one of our rescues. There are two of them.
Nice. Yeah, I have a rescue cat and a dog I paid for because I wanted a purebred boxer. So
Fair enough. Oh, now she's purring.
We bought a boxer puppy 6.5 years ago. Can't believe he's that old.
I think she's actually a bit of a ham because she always creeps up when I'm broadcasting. Comes around my chair until I pick her up.
When the puppy was little and he was yay long instead of yay long, I would do Google Hangouts and he would hear people talking. And he would come and he would stuff his little face right into my laptop. And he really loved that. Now he kind of is like, oh, yeah, okay, I know what all this is. I don't need any of this. So what I'm doing right now is I am researching sales tax management software, because I have to pretty much make a decision as to what I am going to do with the software business by the first of the year. So California goes into effect April 1st. And at that point, if you look back in a 1-year period from now, so if you look at all of 2018, if you have 200 or more transactions or more than $200,000, you have to start charging sales tax come the 1st of April. All of these sales tax compliance softwares where they will calculate the tax and do the filing for you is extremely convoluted, which is why I have such bags under my eyes. because it was like, I mean, California hadn't done anything, so I didn't need to too much. I mean, I did kind of look around, and some of them are horribly expensive.
Aloe vera.
But I did find one that at least sounds interesting.
Interesting is good.
Well, in the fact that, and I'll talk more about this, probably not next week, because my daughter and granddaughters are going to be here, and we're going to have our Christmas probably next Friday. But the first week in January, I will have much better information about this one particular company. Certain states pay this company to gather all the tax data, which means,
which one is it, Nancy?
It's that Tax
Cloud?
Yes.
Tax Cloud.
Okay.
I've used them before. It's been a long time, but I had them on 2 of the e-commerce sites that I used to run. And yeah, they'll calculate it for you for free, but if you want them to file, that's going to cost you big bucks. But yes, they are certified in more states than any other tax software, or so they say.
Yeah. The other one that I looked at was Avalara, who was the people who did the sales tax webinar.
They're so expensive. I don't think they do it for free.
No.
Because we're looking at them for the QuickBooks integration next year, because SpeedTax is no longer going to integrate with QuickBooks. And no, they're not cheap.
And they don't tell you any pricing.
Nope.
They just want you to like schedule a demo that is really like hard sell.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. I am kind of fed up with society.
Okay. Okay.
And
the woman who's starting to go out and socialize. But go ahead.
In the fact that all of these software companies and whatever, people who do webinars, they tell you one thing, they do something totally the opposite. There's a whole lot of words being spit out, written out. But when you stop and sit back and really think about what was said, they didn't say a damn thing.
Yeah, it's the whole webinars to sell a thing now. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
it is. And maybe it's just it's me and my belief systems. If you were to go to our software site, I have little 10-minute videos for each of our software programs, and they're titled, product X, what it is and how it works. And it is a literal walkthrough.
And nobody watches them.
Yeah. They'll call me and they'll ask me all the goddamn questions that, I've addressed in this 10-minute webinar.
I've heard a lot about this. So.
Yes. And, that has been like a point of contention for me for a long time, because if somebody sat and watched that webinar, they'd know exactly what they needed to do in QuickBooks in a very brief and high level overview. But they would see how that data from their QuickBooks file goes into our software in 10 minutes. And they'll spend 45 minutes talking to me on the phone, asking me all those same questions. Because, of course, everybody thinks that they're special and unique, Can
I ask you a question? I think that you had posted the link to this. Is it true that Etsy is not Etsy, Craftsy is going to limit their sales?
I just saw the Ravelry threads on this. That's exploded, and yes.
Oh, that's right. You would know better because you actually
I'm
sell
not on
patterns.
I'm not on Craftsy because they didn't handle the VAT thing when it came out.
Yeah.
And I went, no, I am not. I'm not doing this. If you don't do VAT for me, I'm not selling through you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of designers who are on Craftsy just going, eh. And there's no. Some people are being kept. Some people are getting certain patterns kept, and some people are not. And
do
it's
we
just,
know? Do we know the
Nope.
decision making
nope,
behind this?
not at all.
process?
That's one of the
Really?
things. Like, why? And I mean, it's just kind of a debacle. Yeah. And everyone's going. So, what was your criteria? Who's? Yeah, who knows?
Oh my
I mean,
God,
now I'm
wild.
wondering if that's tied into the whole changes again to like the tax laws, because they don't do like the sales tax and such like that.
Yeah. Oh my
The thing
God.
is, for knitters, it's not too bad because like probably a lot of people who sell on Craftsy also sell on Ravelry or Love Knitting or another location, but apparently
Sure.
all the sewers are going and trying to export their patterns in a monster hurry because
Yeah.
there's not a lot of places that do sewing patterns.
Yeah.
And the deadline for this is like really short. I think somebody like it's only a few weeks to get all your stuff sorted out on them. So everyone's kind of running around with like a chicken with their head cut off, going like,
Wow, and that's Craftsy.
Yep.
God, they've been around for a long time.
The other thing with them is apparently they're keeping some patterns that are like tied to some of their kits or like some of their workshops.
Well,
if
sure. Well,
you're-
they sell yarn.
Yeah,
So.
but if you're a teacher on Craftsy, you can put up patterns for your classes.
Oh, so it's
Well,
kind
so
of
they're
like
gonna keep
preferential
those.
treatment.
Yeah, but
Well, that
yeah.
makes sense in a way.
It does, that would make sense, but like no one knows why they're taking certain patterns down and leaving some other ones up, and it's just been Apparently, it's quite an adventure. Some of the Ravelry heads have exploded on that one.
Yeah, I bet. So that means
Well-
probably more people are going to be moving to Ravelry and Etsy.
And probably Love Knitting as well, because I think
Love-
they do that.
Yeah, Love Knitting does.
Yeah.
Do they sell patterns? I thought Love Knitting was mostly free stuff.
No, they do sell patterns as well. They're not as big a marketplace for that, but they do it. So
Yeah.
And
but I think a lot of people are going to switch to either Ravelry or Etsy.
Well, I know that Knitpicks also will. They have some sort of a vetting process though, but they'll also sell patterns.
Yep. That's their. I'm actually have a pattern through them. That's the independent designer. Well, it will be. So I have a pattern in Knitpicks book, but
Yeah.
I can also buy you can just go buy that single pattern, and it's the same kind of process. So it's either if you're in one of their books or like in one of their publications, or if you do something in their yarn, you can just submit and be like, I'd like to put this up through your website, but it has to be in their yarn.
Oh well, sure.
Which is fine. Like that makes perfect sense. No question.
Yeah.
And I believe like you can also do a submission to get yarn support through the same thing, where like you get yarn support, and they'll look at your submission as well. I haven't chased that down for independent patterns. I've only been kind of in it through a book.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's how they do it. So it's definitely vetted. It's more like even with them, you can't just upload your own pattern. It's a submissions process.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nancy. I sort of.
Oh, no, we've
derailed the
gotten
sales
sidetracked.
tax.
no, that's fine. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that everybody needs to be aware of. I mean,
Well,
we
and I
all
think that,
belong to different
Mhm.
groups and whatever, and no one. I sure can't be everywhere.
well, and I think that Sarah's 100% correct. I think this may have something to do with the new sales tax laws. And so if it's that far reaching, then we probably should know about it.
Yeah.
I actually I feel like a bit of an evangelist sometimes because I go to all like the various artists and I take donation through PayPal and I'm like, no, do not, like because you've got VAT to deal with, you've got your sales taxes, and they just got a generic like pay me link for PayPal, and I'm like, this is not a good idea. And everyone's like, oh, why do you do Patreon? And I say, because they do taxes for me. You want to just give me money? Here's the platform to do it because I'm not doing the taxes on this.
I don't blame you.
Seriously.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
But so many people are like, they have like the donation link set up, which is fine. But it's like, do not just do this through PayPal. And I feel kind of like a broken record evangelist telling people that this is not a good idea.
It seriously, it is not. I mean, ugh.
Because I mean, all the little tip the artist services. The only one I've ever seen that does like that and taxes is Patreon. Like that's the only one I've seen that does it. I think Kickstarter does as well, but because everyone's like, oh, I'm like, no, this is business income, people. You have to report it
Yeah.
for whatever your taxes are.
Yep.
And you need if you're not set up for it, you need an agency that's gonna do things like VAT and sales tax. And they're like, huh? And I'm like,
Isn't Nancy starting to collect and pay sales tax for
there's
their,
certain,
their
which
store?
I'm incredibly glad of. That takes that out of my hair. But yeah, no, there's so many platforms that I look at and like, you look great, but you don't do taxes, so not touching this.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all craziness.
I mean, in Canada, my taxes aren't too ridiculous, but it's a question of things like, the sales tax for international stuff, that all of that I don't have the infrastructure to do.
None of us do.
Yeah.
Even the software business. I mean, that's my husband and I.
Yeah, I can only imagine just ugh.
Look, we have a small business as well, and we do have to have software that integrates with our accounting software to configure our sales tax and add it to our invoices when we send them out. And we don't want to pay the huge bucks that they charge to file. And a large part of my job is filing sales taxes in 30 some odd states and 40 some odd jurisdictions. Because if you ever get to where you're selling a bunch of stuff in Alabama, there are many cities and counties where you must file. Mobile and Montgomery come to mind. I don't think we have to file in Birmingham. But they're not the only state, and then you've got states like California where you have to. Jurisdictions are all their county and city stuff is all part of their state return, but California has one of the most confusing sales tax returns you will ever see. Texas is not far behind it, and Hawaii just makes you laugh. Connecticut is also another bugger because their support rates are different than their other sales tax rates. And the way you have to file that is just makes you, and I only do it annually, so I only have to deal with it in January. But every time I look at it, I go, oh, geez, how am I supposed to do this? And it's horrible. It's horrible.
And before all of this, here in Vermont, all I had to do was Vermont sales tax.
Yep. You guys make me so glad I listened to you guys in the US tax system. I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this. Because in Canada, okay, it does get a little weird. So you have government sales tax, which is like federally mandated, and you have provincial or like territorial sales tax. But some of them have gone to this integrated, what they call a harmonized sales tax, which is both lumped together in some kind of monstrosity. So in some cases, what will happen, so if I'm charging to a province that is HST, I collect the full, like, I think it's 15-something% on that. Well, not yet. I'm actually not collecting that because I'm under, in Ontario, if you make less than a certain amount, you don't have to collect sales tax in Ontario.
15%?
Yeah, but I think that's federal and provincial. I'd have to do the math.
Well, see, we don't have any federal sales tax here. It's all state-based. And the most, I don't think we have anybody that's 10% yet. The most is going to be about 9.5%. So 15% kind of makes me go, oh.
But okay, so this one is really fun. So if I were to chart, let's say I don't collect sales tax because I'm in Ontario because I'm not at the threshold to do that yet, which is good in a way. But here's what happens. So if I were to, let's say I were collecting taxes and I sold in the Canadian province that doesn't have the HST, then I still have to collect like their provincial sales tax. And again, I don't have to admit that, but that's how that works. Like the buyer would be charged the provincial sales tax. And I'm just like, it's weird. But see, Canada hasn't done the whole provinces charge back sales tax yet, for which I'm glad. But even then, it's like, no, whatever platform I'm on, you deal with this.
I don't blame
the only
you.
one I have to configure is right now is like, and again, I'm not eligible there. In Ontario is like the Ontario HST. If I were selling to someone in Ontario and I hit the threshold to have to charge sales tax, which I have not yet. And I was like, thank you. This makes things so much easier because I listened to you two and I'm just like, oh. No, there's been no move from the Canadian government to do this kind of like provinces charge sales tax to sellers. I given what's happened in the US, I'm sort of watching for that to start, but so far it's on the buyer's end.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
I'm
e-
gonna, yeah.
yeah,
I
there's
mean,
this
it wouldn't
people.
surprise me if it starts going that way, and then I'll have a headache. But
And the crazy thing is, I don't hear anybody else talking about this other than us.
I hear a few bits and pieces here and there, but that, like, yeah, no one's seriously setting down and going like, guys, this is a thing.
Well, I think part of that is because the industry that we're focused on right now, for the most part, is little bitty people. There are a lot of people like Sarah who aren't going to have, they're not going to meet that threshold. You and I are in a business where we do a lot of business in other states, and so we do have to worry about it. Most people, and they want low hanging fruit. They're going to go after the big people. There are a lot of people that are going to be able to fly under the radar for
Oh,
a
yeah.
while, and are thinking, well, I'm not going to worry about this until I absolutely have to worry about it. And so that's there are some people who say, oh, I'm never going to sell $200,000 or do 200 transactions in another state, and so they're just going, I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, I mean,
I think that's part of it.
the warning I'll make though is, like some provinces it's quite low. I think it's one province, but it's $5,000, and then you have to deal with their sales tax. So it's like, don't
Yeah.
count on it being a high number, people.
Well, not for long. Not for long. This is
Yeah.
We'll see.
And the thing is, you need to start tracking. You need to keep track.
Even if it's just like simple tracking, you need to. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like
Yeah.
I if I need to, I mean, it would suck. I could go through and find out where every one of my orders went. I don't want to, but I mean, if I had to, I could go do that. So if someone comes to me and says you need to do this, I'll go, ugh, and I will like dig into my Ravelry records. I'll go into my Etsy records. I'll check all the addresses. It will suck, but I can do it. But right now, I don't have to track that. I have to track by like region. Because the platforms I go to, guess what? They do this for me.
Can you?
And
I know that with Ravelry, at least, I don't have any experience with Etsy, but you can export like your stash into Excel. Can you do that with your sales as well?
Yes.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Don't
It makes
think
it somewhat easier.
Now I'd have to check to see if that export drags out like the location of the buyer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know it does like sales data, like how many were sold, if there was a coupon, yeah. I don't know if it drags out the location of the buyer in that export. I have not actually looked at that yet.
You should, because that might make things a little bit simpler, because
Yeah.
you can do all sorts of filters. and
No, I
stuff
mean
to
right
it.
now I just copy. Like right now, if I'm like, oh, I need to update for this month, I just go in because Ravelry just even on their site just gives you like a chart of like,
Yeah.
here's your monthly sales, here's the coupon codes, yada yada. I just use that data in for now, but it's all in there. Like if you go to other pages, there's a bunch more data in there, and I haven't experimented with all exporting all the other data yet.
Yeah.
I've only just done the like data like sales exports, but it's all in there.
And see, this week I sat down with QuickBooks for the software business, and I have sales by state, whether it was software, whether it was software maintenance, if it was training, and if it was ebooks. And all of that comes into one report. And I get a grand total. I can export it to Excel and have Excel, count the number of transactions for me. And that's just because in QuickBooks for the software business, every customer has an invoice.
And Nancy, because I did for a long time before we our transactions got to the point where it was just outrageous. You can track all that stuff. You're the one that walked me through the process of setting up the sales tax by jurisdiction and QuickBooks and everything. But the problem there is you have to keep track of the changes to the sales tax rates. And if you don't do that, and they decide, one day, oh, let's go and, audit these people, then you're kind of stuck like Chuck if you're not, charging the correct sales tax.
I mean, I know Ravelry has an option for a buyer that you can handle your own taxes. Like if you're VAT registered, it's like you can, and I'm like, nope. I mean, I see why some people might want to if they're set up that way.
Sure.
But like, yeah, nope.
So that's why I think, yeah, Nancy, you're smart for going out and looking at software to integrate to do that, because it would just become a nightmare.
Oh,
Trust me.
it would be. But I mean, just to track, your number of transactions and your sales volume, you know, QuickBooks does a great job. And I mean, I have always taken care of Vermont, the home state, right in QuickBooks. But, and I think I said to you, if when all of this stuff comes into play, if I have to file sales tax returns in 50 states and umpteen bazillion jurisdictions, I'm
Yep.
shutting the doors.
Yep. I don't blame you.
And that's not even factoring international. Like, I mean, I'm sitting here going, okay, as far as I'm being told now, as a Canadian, I don't have to worry about this yet. But the thing is, I'm looking at it going, okay, great, but so what happens? Like, I do have to deal with EU VAT. I do have to do Australian VAT. I know Etsy Ad does Washington State taxes now, and I'm just like, okay, so this is all well and good, but like, what about people in the States who are ordering internationally? Like, what's going to happen there? I mean, with VAT now being applied, and
We have, and
Oh.
I'm interested about that too, because we have a single Canadian client in New Brunswick and in Fredericton, and we have not been charging them tax. So it's
yeah, what's that going to do?
yeah.
I
What's
mean,
going
it's
to happen?
like the states. Like you guys, yeah. I look at your tax system. No offense, and I go, what? Buh. But like, can you imagine if you had to charge tax for every country in the EU and figure out all their different tax rates, and then
Yeah,
all the different provincial tax rates, and like that, it just gets worse if you go internationally. Then plus,
Yeah.
if you've got a tax holding treaty, which I just found out about the other day doing research, that was fun.
Oh, really?
Janice and I were talking about this morning, and I said to her, it would be so much easier here in the States if me as a business in Vermont charged Vermont sales tax on every sale, no matter where I shipped it to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make a lot more sense. But no.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's too practical.
Well, we're talking about the government. Practical and government are like, oxymorons. So
Yeah, I just. Ugh.
And seriously, I mean, all of this came about over Wayfair and Quill, who were making gobs of money.
and it's the little guys that end up getting screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it
Yeah.
and go, I see what they're trying to do. Like, in the matter that, like, I mean, even in Canada, there's a lot of complaints about, like, how, like, people buy stuff online and then the government never gets taxes from it because it doesn't get charged. So, I mean, I get it. As the government, you want people buying stuff to pay their sales taxes. But this is not functional.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be in a manner that is easy.
Well, I think it's also a lot of people don't know anything about, like, okay, so, was it last year? Yeah, it was early last year. There was a huge uproar because Canada Revenue Agency contacted PayPal asking for all the data from any Canadian business account because they basically were finding that a lot of people doing small time hobby work were not claiming it properly in their taxes. Like, they were making this income and not claiming it, and people freaked out.
And you know what's really funny about that is the government probably spent more money trying to find all of that out than they would have collected in taxes in the first
That
place.
I'm not sure of, given the size of the freak out. There were a lot of people, so it might have actually worked out in their favor. But I mean, I'm just thinking, you're still a business, aren't you doing that? No, okay. Like, the sheer number of people who basically didn't. I didn't know I had to do this. I'm like, you're making money. And at least, like, for small scale hobby work in Canada, if you're not trying to, they have a category for, like, there's a couple of ways you can report, like, small, very, very small scale income in Canada. And so if you want to just do, like, I'm earning, like, $20 from babysitting, it's actually really easy. You just literally jot it down on, like, a line labeled other and say, I did this. If it's, like, really, really small scale, they don't care, except to ensure that you're actually, like, have the income. But that's the thing, like, so these people, they weren't making much, but they were all in this utter panic. And what gets me more is that I didn't realize I had to pay taxes on this.
Well, and that stems from all of these webinars and all of these websites that talk about how easy it is to like open an Etsy shop and start selling your handmade items. You know, nobody is addressing the fact that, as soon as you open that Etsy shop, oh, honey, hello, you're
Guess
a
what?
business.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not officially a business, you are doing a thing that earns you money.
Exactly. Just like, here in the States, you got Susie Homemaker who, rents a booth at the local craft fair or the local farmers market, to get rid of a bunch of stuff that, she's made and doesn't have room for. And, the craft fair vendors, they don't check to
Nope.
make sure that you're a licensed vendor. Farmers market, at least around here, they
Yeah.
don't check.
I mean, in some cases, like, I mean, it's not a necessary thing. I mean, for me, there is no, if I want to sell in Ontario craft fairs, that's it. Like, I don't have to, there's no vending process for that. I can, as long as the craft fair takes my application, there's no, like, I don't have to do business, but like fees for that, except whatever the fair itself charges. But so, it depends on, like, for me, there's no issue there, but it's like, they're not going to check your taxes. They're not going to make sure you're doing everything, and why should they? It's not their job.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's why juried fairs are better, because juried fairs will actually ask you, at least here in Vermont, juried fairs will ask you for your Vermont sales tax ID.
Ah,
But if it's not a juried fair, benefit to the local library or whatever, and they just take whoever, or the church bazaar. They don't ask.
nope. I mean, even here, like, even for a juried fair where there's a whole, like, selections and vetting process for the sellers, like, in Ontario, there's no requirement to do that. Like, basically their assumption is you will handle your own sales taxes,
Yeah.
and so there's no requirement for that. And which, I mean, again, it's not their job, and I get it, but yeah.
It's just craziness, and unfortunately the government has never bought, but I didn't know.
Well, I found there's also
ignorance is
backlash.
no excuse.
I found there's also a backlash. I was at Knitters Festival, and I went to one of the dyers I know, and I bought some of their yarn, and she says, "Oh yeah, by the way, we have to charge sales tax now. We made over that amount." And I said, "Oh, okay." No, I was like, "Oh, you made." Actually, I was kind of excited. I'm like, "You made enough money. You're selling. You have to buy." And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's great, but everyone else has been mad at me
I don't understand that.
because so many small scale."
They have
businesses.
absolutely no control over that. The
Oh, I know, but
government has
everyone's
mandated that. Why
Yeah,
would
I know,
people be
but everyone,
angry
like,
at
people were getting
this?
mad at this poor yarn dyer because she had to charge sales tax now and was being irresponsible about it.
I'm
And-
sorry. That just
Oh, I know.
irritates
And like
me.
I said, like that.
Well, I think some of it is just jealousy.
Possibly.
Maybe,
But even like the
still, that's just-
non business people, like they were like, "Oh, you're doing sales tax now?" Like, oh man, like they were so disappointed they had to pay more money. Which, I mean, okay, I get it sucks that you had to pay more money, but like really. So I was like all happy for her. It was like you're earning enough money to pay sales tax, and it sucks they have to pay tax. But like, yay, you're doing good.
That means
You're heading for the big time. You're moving on up.
So no, but that's the other thing. I think people don't realize, like, there's that cutoff, and some people don't charge sales tax, and so like, I think people don't realize kind of how that, like, just general buyers don't realize how that works.
God, that disgusts me. You have no idea. Not the seller's fault that they're having to
absolutely
charge
not.
sales tax.
Seriously,
Absolutely not.
And
that means they're being responsible too. Like because there are some people who probably would try to get away with not doing it and hope no one caught them. And this was a person being
there's a lot
responsible.
of people like that.
Yeah.
And that's like that's a big problem.
Yeah. Well, especially like I know in Canada, there's not like it's one of the things that this year is kind of finding out is there's more micro business, small business people, like really small scale stuff. There's not a good way to monitor this. Like for a corporation, you can kind of see it in their because they file separately. They're not sole proprietor. But for a sole proprietor, there's not a really good way to monitor, like, okay, you can see if they're making over the sales tax limit, sure, but then what, Like, it's just so difficult to monitor all this.
It's craziness.
Yeah, it's absurd. And I mean, I don't know, like, I am dreading the day I have to do like more complicated taxes. But I looked at the sales tax, and the other thing, and this is why, like, when I did my business mentorship program, they actually said go apply for the sales tax. I haven't yet, actually. But one of the things we do is in Ontario, if you apply for the sales tax, how it works is you charge sales tax on what you sell in Ontario, and conversely, you take the federal half of whatever you sell to Canada. However, you also get to claim back tax on like any Canadian tax on any supplies that you have bought. So it's a credit. So it's like, go do this. Yes, you have to charge sales taxes. You'll probably end up actually making money off of this, depending on what your supplies are. Which is actually like, yeah, because it's like, but you do is at the end of the year when you submit your receipts, you say, I paid this much in provincial and federal sales taxes, and that will be remitted to you if you charge sales tax.
Okay. Oh, well,
yeah,
that's different.
It is, but it's one of those things, like, it actually offsets a lot of very small business tax things, especially if you're first starting up.
Yeah.
And so all my business advisors were like, "Go charge sales tax," and you could see the class kind of going, "Wait, why?"
Well, it's kind of like the wholesale accounts here.
Yes.
I mean, when you get a sales tax number, you also can use that as a sales tax exemption.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Because you then buy, your materials wholesale.
And you don't pay taxes on them because you're going to be charging your customers tax.
I think that's exactly the idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, that can be, I'm not quite sure how that's all going to play into this whole sales tax kerfuffle. Oh, did I say that? Yes, I did.
Kerfuffle's okay. Nancy and I have said much worse things than kerfuffle.
It's like I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. I mean, let's say I go to Nitpicks and, I open the wholesale account and I present them with my sales tax exemption.
They only sell their needles and stuff wholesale. They will not sell their yarn wholesale. Yep. I've already found out all about that.
Oh, okay. Think about the new crazy thing that Jo-Ann Fabrics has started.
What?
Jo-Ann Fabrics, you can now set up a wholesale account with them.
For fabric?
Fabric, cool. Anything that you are going to buy from them that you are going to turn around and make something.
Or sell it yourself.
And sell it yourself.
Huh. I did not know that.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's pretty new. It's only like in the last couple of months, because I know I wanted something from Jo-Ann's, and the closest one to me is an hour and a half away.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I live in nowhere.
I know.
So it was like, okay, well, I'll go buy it online, and the first thing it said, set up your account. And then it said, I don't remember the exact wording, but it was like, Jo-Ann Fabric is now doing blah, 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 and you can set up a wholesale account. And I was like, what?
Well, that's kind of cool, actually.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. And they did ask you for tax ID number.
Sure. They have to. They have to, because I know in Europe it's different, but here you can't get together with a bunch of other people and buy a bunch of stuff wholesale so you'll all get it more cheaply.
Cheaper.
You have to be a business here. Now, I know in the UK, I'm not sure about Europe itself, but in the UK, you can do that. You can get a bunch of people together and buy wholesale and get it a lot cheaper, but you can't do that here. You must be a business here in order to buy wholesale. So
That's like Darice. Okay. Darice has their commercial retail online site. And then Darice has a wholesale business side for business accounts. I know because I set one up for Crystal because
for the bows and the wreaths and stuff.
Yeah. You know, I mean, ribbon is expensive.
Yes, it's annoying expensive.
You know, I mean, it's like horrifically expensive.
So is embroidery floss, and that one actually caught me off guard.
Yeah, I know that's weird. You know, you get this little tiny skein of.
Yeah, and it's like $5 or $6. Were you able to talk Crystal into charging more for those wreaths? She is seriously undercharging for that stuff.
We've been having this discussion, and she said in 2019 her prices are going to go up.
You know, if she wants to give and talk to her about this, if she wants to give a bulk discount to those government agencies that are buying, 15, 20 wreaths from her, let her do it. But those individual ones, she could be getting twice what she's making.
I know.
That's absurd.
I know, because I mean, it's not like she has a wreath making machine.
Oh, so they're all handmade.
She does. Her name is Nancy.
No, I'm the bow maker. I'm the bow maker. I mean, she hires somebody to cut brush, and they come in, 4 or 5 foot long branch sections, and she goes through and she cuts all the brush, and then she hand wraps every wreath.
Oh, wow.
Hand decorates
They're gorgeous, Sarah. They're beautiful.
I do the bows because I can whip out 40, 50 bows in 2-3 hours. That's why I said I'm the bow maker. I'd walk into the shop down there. We just got through like a couple weeks ago, and I'd walk into the shop and I'd be singing, "I'm the bow maker, I'm a bow maker," and she'd be like, "You have this serious affliction or addiction to ribbon." And I said, "Yeah, I do." I went down.
At this nearly an hour, Nancy.
Huh? I know. We got to leave. Yeah, that's the nice thing about this. It doesn't say, "Oh, we're cutting you off after 40 minutes," although sometimes it should probably
a good idea.
One random tangent. So despite my stitch markers, I still failed at counting to 8. I had extra stitches at the end of the row. I have no idea where they came from.
Oh no! Don't you hate that? I deal with numbers all day long, and I go home at night to knit or crochet, and it's like sometimes I swear to God I cannot count to 5.
Yep.
I put in all the stitch markers because I couldn't count to 8, and then despite that, I still apparently fail at counting stitches because I ended up with extra stitches at the end of the row, and I just knit them together and hold it done.
There you go.
I'm wondering, why the hell is she knitting lace and holding a conversation? I could not do that.
Well, no, it's actually it's a very, very simple pattern, so I can do that. That part's not the problem. It's just even with the stitch markers, apparently I still can't count to 8.
All righty.
All right, ladies. Have a great week. Merry Christmas.
I will probably not be on next week.
Neither will I. My daughter and the granddaughters will be here, and we'll be having our Christmas probably either Friday or Saturday, depending
on that date.
Drive.
And
that is out.
Vacation in over a year. So
that is Christmas dinner out with peoples. So I will not be here.
So we'll just plan on meeting back here on January 4th.
Okay.
And until then, oh Lord,
right, Merry Christmas, people.
Happy New Year.
All right, I will see you all in the new year, which is terrifying.
I know. Bye.